Good day. This is Seewing Yee from the Yee Real Estate Network. Thank you for attending. All right, so today's presentation is government VA foreclosures, veteran affairs, veteran administration, government VA foreclosure, real estate investing. And the subtitle would be Back to the Real Estate Boot Camp. That's right, basic training all over again. Let's just take a step back. Okay, wear your boots. All right, before I begin, I already told you a number of times that I am a U.S. Army veteran. For 20 years, I'm retired, fully retired, and over the years, since 1980, when I entered the real U.S. Army boot camp in Fort Knox, Kentucky, I was a private. Anyway, I'll be real quick. Uh, I have over the years, during my 20 years of service, I was stationed in many locations in the U.S. First in Germany, my first 2 years, 1979 to 1981. Stationed in Germany for 2 years. And then after that, I went to they reassigned me to a U.S. Army Fort Campbell in Kentucky, but it's the borderline is in Clarksville, Tennessee. So 1981 to 82, then 1982 to 83, I was stationed in U.S. Army South Korea and close to Seoul. I was there for less than a year, actually, 10 months. Then I was reassigned to Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, U.S. Army Fort Sam Houston, a huge medical training facility for all military services, as well as for the government and other foreign military services. U.S. Army Fort Sam, as they call it, very, very huge, and they train military doctor, physicians, and nurses and medical technicians. And so anyway, I was there for 2 years, 1984 to 1985. Then I went to Virginia. I assigned there in active duty in Arlington, Virginia, for a couple of years. Then, of course, in Northern Virginia, that is across the river from Washington D.C. So, and then I came over to California and I was stationed in Northern California for the remainder of my 20 years. So just so you know, a big picture. So been there, done a lot. I know all about military stuff. So you could pretty much say that I am an expert in the government VA foreclosures, because on a personal basis, I've done a number of the VA loans over the years and has been very successful and what have you. And I also, of course, I've been running my real estate network, the Yee Real Estate Network, since 2004. And during that time, several times I have promoted for my investors the government VA foreclosure program, which they took it away from time to time. Now they're back. So anyway, I have to train you in a way that you understand. So again, this is back to basic training. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. Other than that, buying government foreclosures are really no different than buying any real estate properties, right? I mean, you own those rental properties from whatever location for same fundamental reasons. Okay, you want to achieve wealth, you want to retire, you want to achieve financial freedom in whatever definition you have. And with real estate, yeah, as we all know, the power of real estate is mind-boggling, is on historical basis and truly above and beyond, much better. The returns are much better than the stock market, mutual funds, whatever, right? Any other type of investment. And thus more real estate investors became millionaire than in any other wealth building tools. So those are the facts, those are the truth. But sad to say that most of the U.S. consumers, although they have the ability and the research and the tools with the internet, whatever, to do their own research, for reasons unknown, almost 100% of the U.S. consumers does not invest in real estate. for various reasons, and that also applies to our network members, the 1,300 or so members of our organization who systematically are educated by my weekly video newsletters, and similarly, those members of my investors, my database, for reasons I'm not going to get into, most of them, almost 100% of you, or my members, have not and will never buy rental properties. I mean, not because my network is doing something wrong. It's just that's the research. That's the numbers game, right? So for those of you, the mere 1% that are buying real estate investment property in my network, or other people's, or on your own, that for that matter, really is really 1%, right? The 1% rule: 1% of the U.S. consumers, they are real estate investors, control 99% of the wealth in the U.S. Okay, the 1 to 99 rule: 1% control 99% of the wealth of the U.S. So if you want to be 1%, you want to become a real estate investor, then you move away from the category of 99% who will never do anything for the rest of their lives and beyond, and climb over the fence, have the courage and the commitment to become the 1% that actually buy the rental properties. And in this case, I'm talking about government foreclosures. I don't want to spend too much time. I know I'm being a little bit blunt, a little bit direct. That's the way it is, right? I'm by all, for all intents and purposes, my military training, as a leader that I am, I have to be sometimes forceful, sometimes be direct, so I could trigger some motivation and inspiration on the part of real estate investors to pull the trigger, okay, militarily speaking, and other definition, pull the trigger and buy real estate. As you can tell, I love to have fun. All right, government foreclosures. I say it to you again, all right? I mean, once you continue to get educated, it's buying government foreclosures are no different. You buy for cash flow, you buy for appreciation, you buy in a good areas that have a lot of growth and all the economic metrics that you've been learning all these years. No different. Okay? The only difference with buying government via foreclosures are that you are not paying 25% down like you do on a conventional investment loan to finance your investment properties. You are only merely putting 5% down. Read my lips. 5% down, and oftentimes you can break even at least cash flow, and hopefully with the 5% down, maintain the integrity of the 5% down, and you can still get positive cash flow. Does not matter. So right now, okay, I will, once again, you are in boot camp, you are wet behind the ears, so I'll start slowly, even though I've been doing it for a few months with my network, because the VA foreclosure program has came back just recently. Okay, so at the end of the day, you have a chance to leverage your wealth with only 5% down. You don't have to be a veteran to qualify, as you know that, right? So anyway, I'll cut to the chase. The four market that we're currently promoting are, if you look at this map, right? I mean, the areas that I'm promoting is, Florida, all right? Mainly Central Florida and Texas, mainly Central Texas, but it could be other places later on. And southern part of the Virginia, they call it Hampton Roads, Norfolk and Hampton, Virginia Beach here, Portsmouth and North, that area. And finally, North Carolina, okay, Fayetteville and Jacksonville, North Carolina. Right now, those four real estate markets that I'm heavily promoting the government foreclosures with 5% down, breaking the positive cash flow. So other than that, from time to time, I'm able to, once you guys gain more experience in the next few years, and the government VA foreclosure is going to be around for a while, all right, for indefinite periods of time. Who knows, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 years into the future. So government foreclosure is here to stay, all right? By all means, continue to pursue the other regular real estate market I've been promoting, right? Such as Florida through Jim Gillum, and Central Texas through my various affiliate partners. Right now, the turnkey products I'm promoting, of course, in Buffalo, Niagara Falls, we're doing well. And then Birmingham, Alabama, our turnkey provider there, we're doing very well as well. So we have many markets. So for those of you, as you gain experience, as you buy your first or subsequent government via foreclosure properties, as you gain some confidence and experience, with my help, I will venture into the other areas, other real estate market, which there are government foreclosures. All right, isn't that fun? Isn't that exciting? So you can diversify your portfolio, so you can get cash flow appreciation, tax benefit, the whole 9 yards. All right, so there are other areas, believe me, there obviously not all government foreclosure properties are occupied by military members. Okay, but I would say 50, maybe 65% of the property you could acquire through government via foreclosures, your tenant will be either active duty soldier or any of the four military branches, or a regular tenant, right? But these are very good markets. Okay, you have to trust me for right now. I'll help you do research. At the end of the day, wherever you buy, you need to consult with me on an ongoing basis. I'll be your drill sergeant. I'll be your captain of your ship, whatever. I'm at the high level, will ensure that each and every real estate transaction that you're pursuing to buy gummy bear foreclosures, I have a chance to monitor your progress, to guide you along. Although my team will do those kind of things anyway, right? Everything, is not really turnkey for the most part, but wherever you buy in those markets that I'm promoting, you will have a network realtor, if you will, right? For my network, uh, um, on the ground, helping you. And we have property management, we have a rehab team, we have the loan agents, the vendor financing loan agents. We're playing part of a team. You're not on your own, right? You're working as a team with my team, with myself, right? And of course, in the military, we all function as a team, okay? And this kind of process is really no different, all right? So it's almost turnkey. It's just so we have done most of the work for you, but it's up to you to pull the trigger. This could be a long-term buy and hold. Okay, so that's, and so again, if you look, I'm not going to take too much time. Okay, maybe 5 more minutes. Okay, so as we know, we're doing Virginia currently, we're doing Florida, Texas, and North Carolina. Again, in the next few years, I'm going to expand to promote government foreclosure in other markets in California, right? So before I go there, again, if you were to have active duty military members as tenants, is very, very highly recommended that that will be a great benefit, because military active duty soldiers, they make the best tenant, because in addition, they get paid quite well. The base pay that they get paid, I used to be a finance specialist when I was in the army, so I know all about military pay allowances and all those kind of things. But the military people, wherever they are stationed at, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, even Coast Guard, right? Oftentimes, there are severe lack of on-base housing, unless you are a admiral or a general or high-ranking officer or high-ranking enlisted. There are some adequate on-post housing for them. But if you are, a typical enlisted soldier E7 or below, enlisted soldier E7 below, less than 20 years of service, or if you're an officer, less than the rank of a major or a captain or a lieutenant, most likely, if you're lower rank, you are gonna have to live off post. You're gonna have to rent a single family home, 5-10 miles away from the military post where you're stationed at. So that's where you're gonna be buying many of the via foreclosure, right? And some military people, they allow their house to get foreclosed, and you, as a civilian, if you will, regular investor, you can qualify for 5% vendor financing, which is mind-boggling beneficial, right? I don't have to say that again. All right. So the people, that the military individuals, if they were military tenants, they get actual housing allowance, tax-free allowance, depending on what location. The military, they calculate the what they call it, BAH, basic housing allowance, extra tax-free benefit based on a person's rank and a years of service, whether they are married or not, as in this case, dependents on and without dependents. So this is the monthly allowance a soldier are giving to live off post. And so, very simple. I mean, E4, with dependents, E4 like enlisted grade, E4, maybe 2 years of service, so 3 years of service, in addition to their, $2,500 of base pay, which is preserved. They're not going to use their base pay to pay you rent. They're going to use this tremendous government benefit, their housing allowance. In this case, this in E4 enlisted a young soldier, maybe 20 years old, with a wife or somebody, maybe one or two children, small one. They're getting like $1,542 of tax-free housing allowance on a monthly basis to live off post. Is in this case San Antonio, Texas. Could be any of the military installation anywhere in the U.S. Some of these housing allowance are higher than other areas. If they are located in California because of high cost of living, or if a military individual is stationed in Hawaii, for example, where the cost of living is so high, their housing allowance are correspondingly higher based on on a calculation as provided by this government, this pay system, okay, housing allowance, that is, right? So suffice to say, if any kind of property that I'm promoting, whether it's $100,000, $200,000, or you can easily find a tenant that are like a sergeant E5 with 5 or 6 years service can easily pay you, in this case in San Antonio, almost $1,600, right, per month. I mean, for $1,600 per month, all you gotta do is buy a government foreclosure for $180,000, $190,000, even $200,000 with 5% down payment. This rent will allow you to achieve at least break even or even slight positive cash flow with 5% down. So that's how easy it is, right? An E5 with 3 years of military service can pay you almost $1,600 per month housing allowance in any of the areas that we mentioned. So, all right. So the what I'm trying to say is this housing allowance applies to different areas. I mean, it could be, I could show another area. For example, let me show you Virginia, for example. Okay, I show you Texas already. So let's go over Virginia right here, and you will see. Let me show you one of the areas that I'm promoting. For example, Newport News, Hampton, right, where a large contingent of naval base are located there, a lot of military installations, so a lot of active duty people are more than willing to rent your house. If you buy a house for $200,000 in Hampton Roads, Virginia, for example, that I'm promoting right now, right, for $200,000 or even $210,000, if you can rent it out to this E6 with 10 years of service, this staff sergeant, for example, she's already giving a housing allowance of $1,734, right? So that's good. So you can buy a $210,000 house. You do 5% down with vendor financing, whatever. Minus your monthly taxes, insurance, 5% vacancy, 5% maintenance fee, 10% property management fee. Well, $1,700 you can cash flow on a $200 investment property. Okay, that's the bottom line. If you have sometimes you get lucky, you get a lieutenant, a O2, or a captain, an O3 officer that've been in the service for 4 or 6 years or 7 years. They have a housing allowance here in Hampton, Norfolk, Virginia, for $1,845. So you can easily buy a $230,000 VA foreclosure property in Norfolk, Virginia, for example, through my sources, right, and rent it out for a young lieutenant, a young captain, who have a housing allowance of $1,845 to pay you, okay? And so I mean, very easy to rent, okay? Buying property close to large military installations, it'll give you very low vacancy rate, very good high quality tenant, right? Because if they default on the housing allowance, I don't know how they would default, right? Because they already got their own base pay, which is not touched on. The base pay they receive on a monthly basis, or they don't have to apply that toward housing costs. Okay, they have an extra housing allowance. Okay, I think I rest my case with that. All right, so let's get back to the future properties. From time to time, I do have properties in other locations other than the four main market that I'm targeting. So I don't want to spend too much time, but just recently, there's two properties in Las Vegas. They're not military, right? I mean, they could be retirees or ex-veteran that happens to foreclose, well, to left their property that they own with a VA loan, whatever. But these properties, although 300,000, although 360,000, if you put 5% down, because the rent is probably like $2,000, right? I mean, so this is a good property. A slight negative cash flow, maybe break even on the 5% down financing. But if you have other good cash flow properties that you purchased through my network, for example, Buffalo, Niagara Falls, or Birmingham, Alabama, if you have high cash flows on the portfolio that can offset, the break even or slight negative cash flow associated with this via foreclosures, you can balance your portfolio. You can take extra risk of buying higher than usual price point, up to 250, 300 grand, sometimes even more, right? This is just an example. From time to time, we do have California government foreclosures. They are not that great. I mean, yeah, you could buy them, but you're not going to have a positive cash flow, negative for $300 to $400 on a 5% down. That's doable. If you like some of these areas, it's not that many government via foreclosures in California. In this particular month, August, there are 8 properties. They're okay. Victorville, in Southern California, Grass Valley, in the Central Valley, 389K. Reading, 214. They're okay. Eureka, I mean, a little bit expensive, but a little bit more risk because, like I said, you're not going to cash flow because the rent to value ratio is not 1%, clearly. But San Bernardino is not bad, 289K. It rents for 2,000. So if you put 5% down on a venti financing, you might have a negative cash flow of maybe $400. But then again, so that's why I encourage my investors to build up a nice portfolio of high cash flow properties, hopefully in Buffalo, Niagara Falls, because cash flow is so high there, and also Birmingham, Alabama, Huntsville, even in Florida, few other cash flow properties. So you can absorb the negative cash flow, so you can take some good chances, because some of these properties doesn't have to be in California. Could be other part of the country I'm going to promote in the future, right? Could be in Alabama, right? In Alabama, there are, in this particular week, there are 12 VA foreclosure properties, and not all of them are good, right? But I know where they are. There are military bases located in Alabama. I'm not going to name them because I know them, right? I mean, I'm an expert, okay? You don't have to question my credibility. So Alabama could be a future VA foreclosure market for our network. And even Georgia, right? And most of the VA foreclosures located south and southeast of the United States, obviously, because most military members are, they are from the south and southeastern part of the U.S. So if you're gonna ask me, like, can you find some government foreclosures in Washington State? No. Or Maine or New Hampshire? No, because very few military veterans own properties in these kinds of areas. All right. In Georgia, there are 31 properties that are government foreclosures. I would say 5 or 10 of them could be a very viable investment. But you guys are not ready. Okay, many of you are just simply not that experienced. But once you gain experience down the road, I will introduce you above and beyond the 4 market that I'm promoting: Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and Virginia, to beyond to the other government foreclosure market. So they're all very good. We have property management, the whole 9 yards, right? And the rehab team and the loan agents and right. So don't worry. The risk is there's always risk, right? But it's the risk of buying government foreclosures or not any higher than the risk of buying any other turnkey properties that we are promoting over the years and right now, in fact, right? So do your research, do your due diligence, consult with me, you know, and then to, you know, to incorporate government foreclosures into your real estate acquisition plan, right? And invest for the long term. Use your cash flow ultimately to achieve retirement. It's all about cash flow. It's about the rental income, buying income producing property, even with 5% down, right? To diversify your portfolio in different markets, buy traditional turnkey properties that we're promoting, right? As a foundation to build up your portfolio, then diversify into government foreclosures in various markets, and slowly. And you can, by the way, you know, there's a lot of great benefit. Many of you already know, you've been watching my video newsletters about government foreclosures, right? Because these venti financing mortgages you can qualify for is unlimited. You can buy as many via foreclosure property with the financing with the venti 5% down. You know, it's only limited by your lack of down payment money. All right. But if you build up your real estate portfolio, you know, with your regular purchases, through, you know, through our affiliate markets and the turnkey provider market, build that up and then use the cash flow to put as a down payment to buy via foreclosures. Who knows, right? In the next 5 to 10 years, you know, with a mere $150,000 of cash, you have initially, you can buy up to 50 properties. Did you see the newsletter that I provided recently? That's very much doable. It'll take some time, but okay, so that's all I have to say. I don't want to spend much time. Well, let me do a couple more things. We do, you know, there are, you know, decent government foreclosures available in Tennessee as well, right? In Tennessee, there are various military installation. I was stationed there at one time. There are 9 properties in any given time. A lot of these properties come and go very quickly because these VA foreclosures are very desirable. You are competing against other investors throughout the country and the world. You're competing against local buyers in those markets. They understand the value of buying some of these great properties. Many of these government via foreclosures they're not dilapidated. They're located in good neighborhood, right? And they are relatively new with a very good square footage. They are below market value around 10%, typically maybe even more sometimes. And you know, the only caveat, the only little additional thing you have to do is you have to pay for the rehab costs. Okay, the government not going to pay for you, so it's not turnkey to that extent. The rehab cost could be a mere $3,000 to change the carpet, paint the wall, or you know, or maybe slightly higher depending on the property. Sometimes you pay a rehab cost out of your pocket in addition to 5% down. You know, could be $10,000 to be up to 15,000, but should not be any more than $15,000 of rehab cost, matter rehab cost after you close escrow, right? But you have to make offer. Some of the properties are located in great locations, like you know where they are, right? Various places in Florida, even in Texas. I mean, they're all very, very good properties. Sometimes there are multiple offers of 10 or more people competing against you, so make it very, very challenging. In some markets, there are not as many competing offers, but you got to be ready to pull the trigger very quickly. And to qualify to get venti financing, you have to have at least 2 years of rental property experience. Okay, that's you know, that's sort of major requirement. You have to document that you own rental property for the past 2 years. And many of our investors, unfortunately, in my network, have no properties. Most of you, okay, so you do not qualify right now to buy government via foreclosures. It's okay, but if you have the money, if you're motivated, you can buy regular properties for the next 24 months. And then once you gain the requisite 2 years of investing experience, then you can venture into government via foreclosures. But the rest of you who are still extremely motivated, which is not many, unfortunately, very sad, not my fault, it's your fault, that if you maxed out, if you have already 5 mortgages or 7 mortgages under the conventional investment loan Fannie Mae guideline, or you can max out is 10 mortgages, right? If you have up to 10 mortgages, you cannot buy any more investment property except, you know, 5 units or more commercial investing. So Fannie Mae right now, the limitation is such that you can only allow 10 mortgages, including your principal home, by the way. If you max that, you cannot buy any more single family, any more rental properties, 4 units or below, including single family home investment properties, if you max out with the 10 mortgages. But if that's the case, and if your debt to income ratio, DTI, debt to income ratio is less than 45%, if you have already maxed out with 10 mortgages under the Fannie Mae lending guideline limitation, then you can venture into government, VA, vendor financing, VA loan financing as an investor, right? And you can get unlimited properties as long as those properties are at least break even or positive cash flow. You can get unlimited mortgages associated with the vendor financing. This kind of mortgages, you can buy a lot of properties as long as you have the money available for the 5% down payment or more. Okay, so I think I'm hope you got this. I don't know. I think I passed my time limitation. But this is just one of the basic training. I believe many of you still need much more training, and I will continue to provide them either online or my monthly live events. Thank you. Once again, at the end of the day, this is a tremendous value. You see the value. The risk is, to me, is very low because I've done most of the work for you. I'm a military government foreclosure expert, and there's no one else in the world or the country, at least to my knowledge, have my vast knowledge of direct and real military experience that can talk about this, that will give you some guidance. Furthermore, I don't, because these government VA foreclosure programs are not advertised or not promoted by anyone, let alone the government. Very few people, if any other individual, consultant, or organizations such as mine are promoting this except us, the Yee Real Estate Network, and of course me, Seewing Yee. Thank you so much. Hopefully you receive a lot of value out of this. Hopefully you have a lot of motivation and inspiration to follow my path, to follow me. I'm going to lead you into the mission, of the journey of completing your mission with the government foreclosures. I am your leader, right? For the lack of a better term, I'm your drill sergeant. Okay, I'll be hard on you, but I'll be at the same time compassionate as well. But my purpose is to lead you, guide you, assist you, counsel you, consult with you, lead you into the battle in the very challenging minefield of real estate investing. Okay, so if you are willing to take this challenge, if you're willing to sign up, sign me up. Okay. Okay, if you want to embark on this military mission to achieve your definition financial freedom goal, then you come aboard. All right. Thank you so much. Hopefully my presentation is inspirational to you and motivating. I hope it is. And just take some initiative and courage and to follow. Come along for the ride. Long journey, very exciting journey, very, very lucrative journey if you do things right. Thank you so much to Seewing Yee from the Yee Network. Have a nice day. Goodbye.